Hey guys, what's up? So the Galaxy S6 came out in early 2015, making this phone almost 2 years old. And since this phone is pretty cheap now, a lot of people were asking me to review it and see how it's held up so far. So if you guys have something you'd like me to review, add me on Snapchat. The name is Simple Alpaca. Just scan the code and you're ready to go. I know I usually say that at the ending of the video, but I figured I'd say it now. Now again, we have to go through some of the miscellaneous specs. It has a 5.1-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED screen, has a 60 megapixel back-facing camera with optical image stabilization, and has a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. It has an octa-core processor clocked in at 2.1 gigahertz and has 3 gigs of RAM. Now what's funny is if you remember my Galaxy Note 4 video in which I put in a ton of effort in and I got only like 450 views, whatever, the specs between the Note 4 and the S6 are kind of similar. Now obviously the size is the biggest difference between the two. Now looking around the S6, I feel like this has aged pretty well. All the glass around the body was a nice touch, but if you drop it, it's pretty much done for. Now if you get the white version of this phone and pretty much any phone in the market, some of the sensors are going to be noticeable, just a little heads up. But once I booted up the screen, I noticed how after about 2 years, there was little screen burn-in, almost none. Now this is pretty much a common issue with AMOLED screens, is that the screen retains the picture from what the phone is showing. So it's pretty cool that this phone still has pretty much no screen burn-in. I could notice there was a little bit on the status bar, like where the time was, but because the time is always there and stuff, so that's kind of understandable. Oh, and the screen itself is pretty nice. It's an AMOLED, so the darks are completely dark. You guys already know this. And unlike the Note 4, I feel like the colors were a little bit more calibrated and a bit more darker. Now of course this phone was the first to ditch the SD card and removable battery from the Samsung line. Now what sucks even more is the fact that Samsung put a rather small battery in this device, and if you want to change the battery you have to completely take apart the phone. Because this phone has a super high resolution screen and has pretty decent specs, the small battery is a really big downside. I'll talk more about this in a minute. Speaking about the back, the camera is located there, and this phone of course takes pretty good pictures. The zoom in and out are a little bit more slower than the iPhones that I use, but picture quality isn't too far off. Also videos turn out pretty solid as well. It's capable of shooting Quad HD videos, which is a really nice touch. OIS helps out with getting shots and making videos seem stable too. I don't know, I'm not a photographer, I don't know a lot about that, but this phone is still pretty strong in the camera department. Performance on this phone was pretty consistent. Let me explain. This phone has awesome specs, awesome build quality, but super strange software. Now as of right now, my phone was running Android Marshmallow, but it has TouchWiz over it, and I have yet to meet one person who actually likes TouchWiz. The software is bloated, there's so many pre-installed apps, and on occasion, even me just simply going through some of the pages on the settings app, for example, the phone will heat up a little bit. It's the weirdest thing. If you're a fan of TouchWiz though, then yeah, you'll be fine with this. But for everyone else planning to get this phone, please download the Pixel launcher or Nova launcher or whatever other launcher you use, or you could even root and custom ROM this phone. But of course this phone is fast. It runs games rather well. I did the Temple Run test and load times and start times were pretty good, pretty much on par with my iPhone. Now remember when I was talking about the battery life on this phone? Yeah, you remember I talked about it like a minute ago. It's pretty bad. It's about a 2500 milliamp hour battery, which doesn't sound too bad, but then you have to remember the overall specs of this phone were pretty maxed out and still somewhat are. Now the biggest problem with getting this phone used is that the battery might have degraded over a year or two, but one advantage with this phone is wireless charging. So if you're chilling at home, you can just slap it on the wireless charger and you're good to go. Also, Samsung implemented the cool battery saver feature that increases the battery life of your phone by turning off a lot of things. It's like a TouchWiz feature. If I use this phone for more than a week and I was in a situation where the battery was like at like 10% or something, I would throw that on. I feel like I would be able to get a couple more hours of usage out of it. Now as usual, some miscellaneous stuff. This phone did heat up on me and every once in a while, even when I was just on settings. Also when you're playing heavy intense games, it will of course heat up on you. The glass on the back causes some serious fingerprints if you get the black version, even the white version, so make sure you're equipped with a case or something. I'll link the best cases I find on Amazon for this phone in the description below so I can save you guys a few steps. But I love the fact that Samsung put the fingerprint sensor on the front of the phone rather than the back. You know, I guess I never really fell in love with the whole back of the phone fingerprint sensor thing. But guys, that's pretty much it. I would say that the Galaxy S6 isn't really worth it, simply because there are some other better options around the same price range, like the Galaxy Note 4 if you can handle the bigger size, the OnePlus 2, even the LG G4. Now I don't know about all that boot loop situation or issues that LG G4 has been having, but if you get a decent one, it has a SD card and a removable battery, so you'll be good to go there. You could even get the S6 Edge Plus because the battery is a little bit bigger, and they also obviously updated the whole specs and whatnot, so you could go ahead and check out that as well. But obviously my opinion is different than yours, so please let me know what you guys think of the S6 so far. But above all, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, it helps out a ton. Subscribe if you're new so you don't miss out on any more videos. I'm building the studio up a little bit so I can become a little bit more productive. I'm on Snapchat as well. The snap code is on the screen. The name is Simple Alpaca. It's the same as my YouTube. I love all you guys, and hopefully I'll be able to see you guys in the next video. Peace out.